Hello everyone, welcome to Cornflower Crafts. Today is my last lunch bag from Dollar Tree cover to journals. My very last video on this for a while. I hope to return to this later, but as you saw, I tried to make them quite different. The fold was different. The themes were different, and this one is vintage, as you can see. And I would love to tell you that this is a flip through that'll be over very quickly, but that's not who I am. I did close it, as you see, with a big bow of sari silk. But to be honest, I did this so that whoever gets it will be able to, if they don't want it on there, they can just take it off and use the sari silk for something else, okay? That's what I did. That's why I did that. And on the cover of it, we might have to get a little closer. On the cover, well, I'll just show you. Front, side, normally, remember I put lace here, not this time. And then I signed it. And the theme running through this isn't just vintage, but it's also quite a bit of typewriters and clocks, things that, I don't know, when I think of vintage, I usually think of those objects as being prettier when they're vintage, personally. That's just my own opinion. I love older clocks, by the way. Now, on the cover, I've got this Prima paper here. I don't even remember where I got this cardstock. Here, then I've got, behind this paper, I've got black lace here and here on either side. Then this was cut from an old doily. The same here, these two pieces here. But I kind of wanted to frame the clock as if it were sitting on, maybe a table that has a vintage or an old doily on it. This type of reaction is what I was hoping to get. And so when I did this one, I left, this is where you would open the paper bag. I did glue down the sides, okay? But then this, I left the top of it open, and then I cut it so that this back part would be open as well, so that there could be either a journaling spot, or I think this would be lovely with a picture on it personally, and then right on the back. And you'll see that it's very rare that I have white anything on vintage, but sometimes with laces and certain things, I leave it white for that contrast, that stark contrast. I like that. But very few things in here you'll see are actually white. And on the front pocket, the same thing. A picture, I think, would be lovely here. Almost everything else in here has been distressed with distressed ink or torn or what have you. So you open it up, and I do have a pocket here. I have little goodies in here, excuse me, in the pocket, but to be real honest, I have them exactly the way I want them, and the only thing I would take out is this one, which is just a tag that I had. This tag was already made, and I covered it with this paper on the front of it, and then made a little tuck spot, and then within the tuck spot put in what looks like vintage stamps, and then I added this little tag on top of, and then with the baker's twine bounded them together. So this is, as you see, this is just goodies that the person who gets this can either keep like it is or move things around too. I have shown this pocket before in a previous video, but in case you didn't see that one, we've got this lace is from Dollar Tree. Then we have fabric here, we've got cheesecloth underneath the flower. And I took the little wooden bead that was on the center of this flower, the flower's from Hobby Lobby, and placed that there so I could keep it as flat as possible, because I have a tendency to, my journals, I just love to fill them with stuff, and they usually are the alligator mouth ones, but I personally like those, but not everybody does. Then with this page, I just took this paper and tore it, as you see, and this glued tops and bottoms, and then there is a, oh, also I stitched here on my machine and here on this journal for reinforcement, really. I have a tendency, speaking of reinforcement, the whole reinforcements, I have a punch, have a tendency to do this to a lot of my tags. Went around that in this wonderful dark brown thread, which is actually from Tim Holtz. I got it at Hobby Lobby quite a few years ago, and I was shocked to see Tim Holtz thread, but they came in a box, several colors, and they had put it on clearance, and I grabbed it. Then under that, underneath the tag, I have just, if the person who gets this is like me, I can write on something that doesn't have lines, but I prefer lines because I don't write straight, but it's kind of fun sometimes, I don't know, to see writing like this. But it's just, you know, to and date and because and typecast by. So let's stick these under here. You know how when you've got everything exactly like you want it, let's leave it out so that I can put it where I want it later. And then I have this little tuck spot at the top. This might be a Tim Holtz, I'm not sure. And then underneath that, this is a Tim Holtz piece. I think I cut it, yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I cut it to fit in there. And then I did this little tag and stitched around that, and this is, wait a minute, is that Tim Holtz? Or is that Hobby Lobby? I'm not sure. But, and even though I do have a punch that gives that, but normally, you know, I do ribbons in here, but having to go at the top, I didn't do that. But I get a kick out of putting ribbons also in my pieces. I think they're fun. And then we did on one of my crafting and chatting videos, we did the last one, we did the belly band together, and my little butterfly wings do come up, but as you know, when you, as soon as you close this, they're going to go back down. And in here, I made this little envelope, and this paper I got, it was one of the papers I got from Hobby Lobby when remember they had gathered their scrapbook paper, and then they put it all together and then put them on sale, and then 75% off that. So I was real tickled to get, and I got quite a few pieces of this. I think it is gorgeous. And then all I did was put this little card in there so that, again, if there's a picture that needs to go here or just a little journaling on the other side. And then on this tag, yeah, I made this one. And I have a Hobby Lobby, and I think others have it too, has a punch that'll give you 3 different tops for your tags depending on how wide they are. And then tied just a little muslin up here. And then this stamp, y'all haven't seen this stamp before. This is one of Tim Holtz's stamps, the fan, the old fan. And I got out my black cardstock, and oh boy, I didn't bring it down with me, but I had it on my desk when I did my stamping, my hashtag stamp play video. And this is the New to Me ink. I got it at Hobby Lobby, and it is New Canvas is the name of that one. And it is white, but when you put it, now this is stamped several times on a stamping platform, and as you see, when you put it on the black, it looks like chalk, doesn't it? Looks exactly like chalk. So I was tickled, though, the way that came out. I was happy with it. I'm going to leave this one out because it goes under this little paper clip right here, so I'm going to leave that one out. And speaking of the paper clip, maybe if I do this, maybe I could even do this up against the books, yeah? And so this is clipped at the bottom, and this is one of the Prima Papers romance novel, I think is the name of it. And then this lace here is Dollar Tree, and then I fussy cut the numbers out because I just thought that looked like fun. And then when you open it up, it has from Prima Paper, it might even be that same paper pad or others. I had a tendency to keep pulling anything that looked vintage. Tickets up here, little, like I said, little things that the person who gets it, they want to put them in, like even the envelope, they want to write something on the back and put in here, that kind of thing. But this is Tim Holtz, what I made the pockets out of. And we've just got little memos and tickets and tiny little ephemera that says telegram and so on. And like I said, that clips on the bottom. And then we have a paper doily that I coffee stained, and then some of the vellum that I got at Hobby Lobby at a great price in one of those packs as well on clearance. Then up here, it's clipped on at the top there with a tiny little paper clip. And this is my favorite way to sew on paper. I'm serious. This really crazy, wild little thing where, you know, you can go around straight and then just go around your second time or even third time and kind of weave in and out. I don't know if it's called something, I just call it fun. But I got so crazy with it, I put a little hole in it. Look at that. I don't know if you can see, there's a tiny little hole there. But it being, supposed to be vintage, I thought, well, I think that's fine. And then that same ink I was just talking about, and one of Tim Holtz's other stamps. That's why I'm putting hashtag stamp play on this one as well, because, and that is an open collab. That's our hostess is Susan from Susan's Heartstrings. And she's encouraging us to use our stamps. And she's really helped me a lot because I'm not a good stamper. And she's really pulled that out of me, the desire to stamp more, you know, because that's not something I think I'm really good at. You get better with time, but I still have a ways to go. So these two I've got up here and just clipped on like this, okay? So that with these pages, the person who gets it, they're like, there's too much in here. I'm going to take this out and put it in the back pocket or the front pocket or what have you, know, that type of thing. Then it's there for them to do. Now on this side, under that same paper clip, we did this stamping together too. And these wonderful stamps were gifted to me by Susan. And look at this one. I just love that. Like the pen just blotted, just, and look, I'm gonna scratch this out. I just love it. How cool is that? I just think that's great. And it did come through. I had mentioned on that too. It did come through. So I took not only my vintage photo to kind of make this look even older, but I also took my walnut stain Distress ink and went, as you see, can you see through the light? Yeah. So I was happy with the way that came out. And I love doing these because they look like envelopes, and then you can open them up and write and do your own thing. Before I put that back, this was already made. I'm trying to use up my stash. And then I just put this paper on the front because I love, love, love that watch. And then I took this paper and, tore it. Did a pretty heavy-duty vintage photo. You know what I mean? As you know, if you keep going over it, it gets darker. And I've been told before, it looks like I burned it. It does, kind of, doesn't it? And then you just go ahead with your scissors and go around that. And you'll see with the tags in this one, I don't remember. I think I got this at Hobby Lobby as well. The twine, and I just love the way it looks with this piece. This is, maybe I need to get that a little closer. This one is numbers and other things. This is a Tim Holtz embossing folder that I did with this paper. Remember this little piece of doily we saw on the front as well? And put that there. And oh no, I'll get to that later. And while we're, so we'll put this back. I like tucking the twine under there, and then we'll put this back over it. Okay. I love embossed paper, by the way. And then this pocket here, I did a thrift haul, I think this was last time or time before, where I had found a book that would tell you how to do a beautiful quilt. And it was all about a certain sewing machine that you would use to do the machine embroidery and everything like that. And so I just cut this out of that magazine. Then I fussy cut my clock out. I think that might even be Lemoncraft. And then and see, my little butterfly goes up here too, but you can't always see with that. And then this is from an older book that I have that says A Victorian Fantasy to Conquer Tedium, Reading While Washing the Dishes. Look at this. I love that contraption. You'd be washing the dishes and you can read. How cool is that? And then, then I put this paper on the back. Isn't that fun? And I love it that she's there peeping over the pocket. I love stuff like that. And then on this page, I have just folded this over. As you see, I did not decorate this because of all the, there's a whole lot of decorating going on in the first place with prints and stamps and all that good stuff. And so this is just a piece of paper folded. As you know, I do this all the time in journals. And I just love it that you can just unfold it. Teeny tiny picture here. Remember the school pictures used to be a little one here and then say who it is and what grade they're in. And weren't they cute? And then this, again, typewriters, the antique typewriters I love. And did this stamping at the top of this, speaking of typewriters, and I was so tickled. This is 5 pounds, y'all. I thought that was cool, as in from the United Kingdom. So, and then I made this to go in it, just a little place to put whatever you want. Just say whatever you want in it. So let's see, or whatever the person who gets it wants. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, it's a tight fit, but it goes. So I did that, and then this is, I think this one's Tim Holtz as well. So a lot of Prima and Tim Holtz together. And then just a little tag. All I did was very simple. All I did was use my Distress ink. This ephemera piece is from Hobby Lobby. And then this piece, this is from the Prima paper pad, but I wanted to do something different with the tag, so when I cut it, I cut it very differently. And then just put some lace at the top and a little flower, and then in the center of that flower is the liquid pearls and a bronze. So that you'll see in the bronze liquid pearl is in quite a few things in this. So, and that's what goes in this little tuck spot. And then I did, this is Tim Holtz as well, that stamp. And I just did it in the black, but I love it on this color of paper. And then this, remember, it was either my last or the one before, thrift store haul. I found a guest book, and so that's one of the pages. When I did the binding, it's with this wonderful dark brown embroidery floss, and then I did the beads. These are wooden beads that I tied on the bottom of it. And then this is another one of Tim Holtz's stamps, the old telephone. And if anyone has ever been into an antique store and picked up one of these receivers, they're heavy, y'all. They're very heavy. And here's the other, you'll start to see, you know, the other side of what we just saw over there. And I think this gentleman is from Hobby Lobby as well. They had an vintage ephemera pack. I don't know if they still do it or not. And then this piece I stamped just right there because I knew it was going to, you know what I mean, was going to tuck in there. And looking like we used a very old, that stamp is Tim Holtz as well. We used an old typewriter to do that. And left this plain, except I do have a little tab that is a vintage lace. And then I put just a little ticket here so that if the person puts a picture here or a picture here and then writes underneath, they can also write here the name or names of the people in the picture. And then I do have a little brass looking bulb pen, and I have little beads, little glass beads, two of them, seed beads, and then just a little tiny charm on that. And then this is what the other side looks like. And yes, the little butterfly wings do come out. The other side of the vellum, the other side of the paper doily, and then this is some washi. One thing, it's another thing I don't do a lot. I don't use a lot of washi. I did it at one time, but I have to keep reminding myself, get out your washi. Get out your washi, you know. And then behind here, on this page, I did stitch around the whole thing in that dark brown. And I took this paper, I had some metal dies from Tim Holtz that I never used because you use them to take away from the paper. But when I did this, I think it's really cool looking, that die, but when I did it, it made, because this isn't super heavy cardstock, this is the Prima paper, which is usual, but this isn't as heavy as sometimes Prima is. And what it did is it kind of warped the paper right here. So what I did was just tear a piece of that pink paper, which you see there's a very little in here, but not much. And when I did this, it strengthened this cardstock. So we put cardstock behind it, and that really strengthened it a lot. So I was happy with the way that came out. I'm trying to use my stuff, even stuff that I was like, well, what am I going to do with that? Well, I'm learning what to do. And then this is a little Tim Holtz, that little clip. Let me see, we might have to get it close. That is so cute. And this is just clipped on here because I know, like, again, if whoever gets this says, you know, this is too thick for me, I don't like it. This is one of the, well, they call it junk mail envelopes. And this had 2 windows, as you see, and just a matter of, you know, doing your collaging on top and bottom and middle and sides, and then the back looks like this. And so again, you pull it up from a little piece of lace that I put the vintage photo on. And see, now I wouldn't let this stay too white. And what I got a kick out of is when, I don't know if you caught it right away, but he's peeking out, see? He's looking. He's peeking out of the window. And that would clip back here. And then the very last page, the only thing I have tucked in, I made, to me, oh, that's one thing I did different too. This is another one of, I think it was like 4 dies, the Tim Holtz dies that would take away from, you know what I mean? Like I just showed you, would put holes in your paper, beautiful decorative holes. And the first time I've done this, I know you can do it, but I haven't done it before. I stenciled that one. So that's a die, Tim Holtz die that I did the stenciling with. And then cut out, that's cut, not torn, cut out to where I thought it looked good. And then another typewriter and some letters there. And then this is the back of that. And I thought this would be fun to whoever gets it to put a message to either themselves if they keep it or to somebody else if they give it. And then the back of it, this pocket comes out a little. You know how you can go like a 1/2 inch on either side? It's not the accordion one, but it'll take on a little more items. And so that's why this ended up in there. I have it closed with some washi, and I'm going to keep it that way. This is, inside of this is a chipboard piece. And then there's another one of those gorgeous stamps from Susan. And then this little piece, this might be the smallest one I've ever made. You all have seen me make these a lot when it comes to almost like a little waterfall papers to do, but mostly mine are tall and a lot bigger than this. And actually I made one for this a lot bigger, but the colors, I didn't like the way that when I put it in here, I didn't like it. So, and again, I stamped here the back of it with what looks like the old typewriter keys. I have a little tiny piece of ephemera that I think is Hobby Lobby pointing to the butterfly because it's so pretty. And then just a matter of tearing the pages. And so I made one of those. And then I also made one of these. And we did the stamping together on this, except you all hadn't seen the typewriter stamped yet. But these are Susan's stamps that she gifted me as well, and I just love how they came out. And the name of this ink is Coffee. And it's just so cool. It really is. And all I did is with a different shade. I had dyed this sari silk with avocado dye. And so it's just a matter, y'all probably done this a lot, of getting out your hot glue gun and just putting a little bit and then smushing it in a little bit, smush, a little bit, smush. And then this piece here is from a vintage, well, that's kind of like well, I guess you would say doily, but it's a rectangular one. And then there is a tiny little old ephemera piece of, well, ephemera piece of an old typewriter on there. So, and then I put the little 15 cents down here. And then, like I said, on one side, they'll get this piece and this piece and this piece. As you see, lots and lots and lots of distress ink over almost everything, you know. And that's what I had to share with y'all today. And I want to thank you so much for joining me. And I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening. Bye-bye, everybody. Take good care.